Differentials rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait. Captain choice will seal your fate. Two enthusiasts breaking it down. Fantasy kings, we're taking the crown.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tinker Time and FPL Pod, the show for every fantasy Premier League manager who's already second-guessing their latest draft. It's Thursday, February 5th, 2026, and whether you're finally locked into your Gameweek 25 draft or just here to scout some differentials, you've come to the right place. I'm Matt, alongside Jim, and we're here to help you tweak, test, and yes, tinker your way to the top of your mini-leagues. We'll break down the best value picks, fixture trends, and hidden gems, so you don't have to stare at your squad screen in despair. So let's pop the hood, crack open the spreadsheet, and get tinkering. Jim, I feel like I haven't spoken to you in much too long. How the hell are you?
It has been quite a week since we last talked. I feel like I'm a different man. A lot's happened, personally, FPL-wise.
Can we still call you a man? Are you still identifying as a man?
I think technically still a man, yeah. But,
Okay.
barely hanging on.
Oh yeah. Well, for those that don't know, Jim last week he took a trip to Turkey to get hair implants. With those ones where they take your rectum hairs and they implant them in your head. So yeah, for our audio only folks, yeah, they he's got a big bandage on the top of his head, but his a couple weeks from now you're not gonna recognize him, head or ass. So
8 to 12 weeks, I should be ready to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm happy for you. I know that this was something you wanted to do for a long time. Those ass hairs down there were going unused for years.
Frankly, it was a waste of their potential.
And they usually stunk, but life has been, we're just living life over here. The flu hit our house this week, so that was fun.
Yikes.
It's still bitter cold out, which I'm kind of over. And I had a good FPL week.
It's gonna be like 10 below this weekend.
Yeah, I listening.
Listening.
I'm not. I have no expectations for the weather at this point. It's brutal cold. It's just stupid. The only thing that I can do is sit or lay in a nice, warm, comfy spot and tinker. That's the only thing that's going to get me through this.
I see you changed the intro back to locked in. So you're no longer second guessing. You're happy with your squad.
So I think I may have done this a couple weeks ago, and I think when I am writing the intro for a recap episode, I think it's second guessing, and then when it's a deadline episode, I say locked in. I might have made that change at some point. I don't remember. It was probably maybe 6 or 7 game weeks ago. But you do bring up a good point, because we are coming off the heel of a Game Week 24 recap, but this also is our Game Week 25 deadline episode, which means it is none other than, yeah, you guessed it, another mega ep.
Good guess.
Can you believe also episode 40? Who would have thought? That's so many episodes.
Plus a deadline episode.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. We are, no one's even listening. That's the best part. That is the best part. But no, in all seriousness, this is going to be a fun app. We're gonna try to get through it. We're going to stick to the droid when I get off topic. I think that's been working well. We've gotten some good comments about that. And but we got a lot to cover because it was a really busy week, really busy midweek. We've gotten some clarity on some potential scheduling outcomes. We got some injuries to talk. We got a lot to talk. So what do you say? Should we get into it?
Let's do it. You want to start with some transfer roundup here?
Yeah. So I think, we talked a little bit about this a couple episodes ago. Honestly, the window felt kind of boring.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the biggest signing that maybe folks would recognize was Tammy Abraham's move from, I think he was over at, Roma, and he moved over to Villa. Other than that, I feel like it's been a fairly quiet window as far as players coming in. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, I guess apart from Semenyo and Gehi, who we've talked about, but yeah, deadline wise, I agree. Nothing too crazy. I know my timeline has been blown up that Spurs had the opportunity to sign John Duran, but did not. Like that big shock.
Duran. Yeah. And I apologize. Abraham was not at Roma. He was at Besiktas. So I apologize there. I don't know. We're enthusiasts, not experts.
Our
Yeah, I mean, it feels
Mediterranean
like
listeners are gonna be disappointed.
well, no, now they're gonna be. But no, there were a few, I'll say meaningful moves. So we saw Mateta tried to force his way out, failed a physical, which we saw that coming a million miles away. Mr. Tubbs got to lay off some of those good humor ice cream bars. So he's going to be staying at Palace, but he will have some competition up front there with Strand Larson coming over from Wolves.
Yep, big price tag there.
Huge price tag for the Norwegian. What's your take on, I guess, that move for Palace? Do you think that kind of brings them back into relevancy?
I don't. I think it's kind of them trying to stay where stay status quo. They lost Gay Heath, so their clean sheet potential is wiped out. I think they signed Stren Larson before the Mateta move failed, so or maybe it was, who knows, timing. But I think it's more like they're just trying to stay relevant, avoid where they were, you know, 3, 4 years ago, where they were right in the bubble. Needed Roy
Yeah,
Hodgson to come in and save them. So I don't think it's the best signing. Stren Larson hasn't looked great, but I mean, he has potential. It's just there's really nobody around him that you'd think there's gonna really help him sing.
yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. It's a lot of, I feel like smaller names, but a lot of the bigger clubs, I mean, other than Semenyo and Gahey, but they were early in the window, not a lot of meaningful moves. So, I mean, I guess from an
It,
FPL perspective, that makes it a little easier.
yeah, I'd say the only one that maybe people would look at, Oscar Bob. I know we kind of hinted at it, but he did
Sure.
make the move to Fulham full sale, uh, like 40 million, quite a bit for somebody who's not really played that much, but that's kind of the City way, right?
Yeah.
He wins a couple titles,
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
couple games, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the list of players here. Nobody really that, flips me from 6 to midnight, just I don't
sometimes
know.
it's
I think
think
sometimes that's okay. Yeah, I mean, lots of rumors, but maybe there'll be more spending in the summer. Maybe there'll be more moves in the summer.
let me ask you
That's
this
all we
'cause
can hope for.
I don't actually know the answer. Sterling was released by Chelsea. He's a free
Yes.
agent. Can he
Yes.
join a team now that the window is closed?
That's a great question.
I don't actually know the answer there.
I'm not positive. My guess would say yes, because if he were to sign a professional contract, it's not really a transfer, but that's a
Yeah,
great question.
I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe someone for our listeners, if you have the answer, let us know because
Smash that comment.
clearly smash that comment button. So yeah, rest in peace to the January transfer window. It was nice knowing you, and we are now turning the page to Pride Month in FPL. So we're really excited about that.
Why is that funny?
I'm smiling. I'm happy.
Wait, Pride is in July. What are you talking about, Pride?
If you go on the FPL site, there's a huge banner that says it's Pride.
British
Premier
Pride?
League with Pride. No,
British
Premier
Pride is
League with
different than
Pride.
July.
I no, it's the Premier League Pride. Like this is the month where I think they try to promote it a little bit. It's like how the NFL decides for like 1 month out of the year that they hate racism, and then they paint it in the end zones, and they think it solves everything,
And then they fix it.
and then they fix it. Yeah, and then like Stephon Diggs goes and beats up his wife. Stuff like that. That's domestic violence. It's different. We're not cutting any of this because we're not shying away from the issues. Okay, we need to talk about them. That's the
4
point.
babies in 1 year. Go do
That's a man
something.
who's been
Go do
busy.
that.
But you know who did do something this week? Our players of the week. So we'll get into fixtures real quick, but just kicking it off. Shout out to we had actually two players tied, Habib Diarra and Nani Madueke, who was a late sub for a scratch. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But each scored 14 points with a goal, an assist, and a clean sheet, 3 bonus points in 79 and 60 minutes, respectfully. So good for both of them. As far as flops go, I think it's the big names. It's Holland, it's Foden, who didn't really have any, contribution whatsoever. He's gone ice cold. And then a name that, I guess if you want to consider it a flop, but he's really an injury, is Bukayo Saka, who's going to be sidelined, it looks like, for at least the next 2 or 3 game weeks. I think they're saying game week 27 might be the target return. Thoughts, reactions to our players of the week and our big flops of the week, Jimbo?
Yeah, disappointing out of Holland there. Tough one. I don't know. other than that, I mean, it's City rotation. It's kind of getting to the point where it's, you're expecting to be disappointed, but their clean sheets are just not there. It's kind of brutal.
Not there. Not there. It took I mean, they can't even defend a Spurs scorpion kick, you
Yeah,
know.
it was a beaut.
But it was a beaut. It was a beaut.
Can I add another disappointing side?
This is your pod. You can do whatever you want.
Chelsea defense.
Mm.
They went
That
down.
first one was
Well, they went
awful.
down too early to West Ham. Bowen, a generous goal for him, really just the ball into the box,
That's a gift.
but then fought back. So they ended up winning. João Pedro looking good, but I don't know. I feel like we're expecting more out of Chelsea defense for this little run here. I know they were kind of targeting potential double game week. But yeah, disappointed. I know I broke.
Yeah, tough start to those managers that might have been looking to back Chelsea on this little green FDR fixture run here. Yeah, why don't we get into some of the fixtures? We'll do a little roundup of the slate, and then we can maybe get into the team of the week. What do you think?
Yeah, so
All right, so no Friday fixture. I think there was no early fixture this week too. So it was 10 o'clock kickoff, I want to say, if I remember correctly. But just kind of going through scores, right? So we had Brighton and Everton tied 1-1. Arsenal shut out Leeds 4-0, an absolute thrashing. Were unable to push a goal across against Bournemouth, who controlled that game 2-0 with a win. You just mentioned Chelsea coming all the way back from down 2 goals at halftime to come back and win with a scoreline of 3-2. And Liverpool really just kind of handing it to Newcastle 4-1 to round out the Saturday slate of fixtures. What stood out to you on Saturday, Jimbo?
yeah, so I think we said it. Chelsea going down early. You expected their defense to do well here. Um, Obviously Arsenal. I think we hinted at last week that this could be a week where they come back and you know get some goals, which they did, and everybody
They
who we
did.
kind of badmouthed scored. I mean, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, Gabriel Jesus, and Madueke. So everyone we said has kind of been a flop coming in, scored, but it is Leeds, so you know, good for them. But the game they needed to bounce back and get the points to keep them ahead.
Yeah.
And then obviously Liverpool, big win over Newcastle. Newcastle, is it safe to say they're kind of in a free fall here?
I mm, Free
Tough
fall
luck.
might be a little harsh. I think they're just kind of they're kind of stuck mid-table.
I mean, they've won one of their last 8 in all comps, including Champions
Is it
League and
really?
and
Is it
EFL.
that bad?
Yeah.
Well, their last 2 also in EFL were against City, so to be fair, I mean,
Yeah. I
that
mean,
is
their last
yeah,
wins were against Leeds, Palace, and Burnley, beginning of January, and then, yeah,
that's more wins than Spurs have since the calendar turned, so
even that, they let
yeah.
up 3 against Leeds, so
That's true, that's true. Yeah, that was an absolute
so,
thriller.
yeah, I mean, it's Liverpool coming back. I mean, Ekitike with the brace here, Vert scores, so he's continuing his nice run. He's finally getting consistent minutes, consistent points. But on the other side, I think it's Newcastle looking poor. Although Anthony Gordon got his goal after we also got
Badmouth him as well.
yeah,
It's death taxes, bad mouthing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just kinda real quick calling out the other fixtures. So, Brighton losing their clean sheet in, I think it was, like, the last minute. Beto scored a goal on his 29th birthday, I think I saw. So, if we had known it was his birthday, I think we woulda hammered that, but okay, sure, whatever. Bournemouth holding a clean sheet there, 2-0. Kruppi Jr. with a nice little goal to kick things off. Of course,
good
he was
for
on my
him.
bench.
Oh,
Hate to
was
see
he?
that. Yeah, that's okay, though. I saw that and I was like, maybe my instincts are coming back a little bit, so I was okay with that. I think the frustrating part, honestly, was Wolves' defense has been very good, and Bournemouth has been letting in goals left and right. So for Wolves not even to push 1 goal across, that definitely stung a little bit. Because you had other managers in your league that had Senesi and Petrovic. You got your Defcon and Petrovic had I think 10 points as a keeper. Massive haul for Bournemouth defense owners, but good management there for folks. So, but yeah, I think that was pretty much it on Saturday.
One last thing.
Yeah,
Pascal Gross. Good to see him back with the goal. He was a
so good.
tremendous player for an average team for a very long time there.
For a guy who spells his last name incorrectly for how it's pronounced, phenomenal player.
I mean, I'm looking at his stats now. His last year at Brighton, he had 5 goals, 13 assists. The year before, 10 goals, 10 assists. He
It was that high?
Yeah, he was good.
Damn, Daniel.
Yeah, and then
That's
they
really
sold
good.
he went to Dortmund, and now he's back, so good for him.
Too much schnitzel. Yeah.
No such thing.
It happened. I had cutlets for dinner tonight. Delicious. All right, moving on to Sunday.
Someday.
Uh, so Sunday, Villa lose 1-0 to 10-man Brentford. We'll talk about that a little bit. But United winning 3-2 against Fulham. Kind of a back and forth there at the end. Very exciting game to watch. Forest and Palace drew 1 goal apiece. Elliot Anderson just racking up points left and right somehow with no goals, no clean sheet. We'll talk about him a little bit. And then the main fixture on Sunday, Spurs and City. Spurs showing some grit, showing some resilience, coming back from two goals down to ultimately level it out and share the point with City. So out of 6 points against City this season, Spurs have taken 4 points. We would take that.
We've got their number.
Yeah. Yeah. Pep is
It's kinda crazy given
yeah.
how bad we are.
Yeah. And I guess we could lump Monday's fixture in there too. So Sunderland honestly just kind of took care of business. 3-0 win against Burnley. Another assist for Mukiele. Just kind of again, if you had those Sunderland defenders and you played them, you were rewarded for it. Kind of kicking myself because I know we went back and forth a little bit, and I kind of said I wanted to bring Mukiele or Alderete in. I forget which one, and you kind of talked me out of it. But it's only one game. So we'll see. Burnley
Yeah.
stink. So yeah, just kind of going through. I think red card for Sade for Brentford, which is tough to see because he had been really good attacking for him. So he's going to be out. It was a straight red, I believe. So, but I think the flip side of that, another blank for Thiago, which you hate to see. Goal for Dango, Dango Unchained. Nice for him. I know he was a little bit of a differential for Lord Tinkerton, but Rogers now has blanked for Villa. Where are the goals? This should be a
You
fixture
captained him.
on paper. Who captained him?
You captained him.
Well, I picked him for captain's
The
draft.
captain's pick, yeah.
Yeah. So that one hurt. You would think, being up a man, they'd be able to push one across. But credit to Brentford, they kind of dug their heels in after they got that goal and didn't break. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean, Thiago is kind of a tough one for me. I don't know what to do here. Coming up next, they have Newcastle, then Arsenal. Tough, followed by
I think after those 2 fixtures, though, it
after
actually turns very nice.
it's Brighton, Burnley, and Bournemouth, and then Wolves, then Leeds, then Everton.
Yeah.
So
They have
maybe
like a
you
really
stop
nice run. You
the whole
gotta
time,
hold.
right.
You gotta hold.
Ignore the fixtures. Ignore old Thiago.
Droid. But yeah, I mean, I think let's talk the United game because I think that was a game where
Yeah.
a lot of folks had targeted. We had talked a lot about it in our preview episode. Bruno Fernandes returns with 2 assists, one in the very last minute of stoppage time there to give United the 1-goal win over Fulham. But this was a tough one going back and forth. There was some disallowed goals with VAR. We saw Raul Jimenez put one in on a penalty. This was a game that, if you had anyone other than Bruno Fernandes, maybe like an Mbomo, a little disappointing to be very honest because of what it could have been.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I mean, is it time that Cunha is kind of bumping up to be a rival to Buemo? I think obviously Bruno's the number 1 target, but if you're looking for a second United, I don't think Cunha's a far off shot. I mean, the penalty canceled in the earlier in the game, so could have had to brace himself maybe, or at least an assist, but
Yeah. I would argue that the better United alternative to Mbomo is actually not wearing United Manchester red. He's wearing Manchester blue, and that being Semenyo. I know I'm kind of jumping across teams there, but if you're looking for
Fair
someone
enough.
to move off of Mbomo, Semenyo's been just locked in. Not to jump across the picture here, but
Let's
puts
do it.
another goal in. Puts another goal in. Turkey with a goal and the assists. I think he came off injured in the game, so I haven't seen the latest on that injury. He's still flagged or not, but yeah, Semenyo. I mean, we talked
Yes.
when the transfer was happening. He was going to be unselectable because of Foden, Guardiola, and Holland, and now Guardiola's injured. Foden seems to have lost his spot, and Holland has honestly been cold. I think there was actually a quote from Pep that said like Marmoush is going to be my starting striker until Holland gets a chance to reset, which how much stock do you put into that? But Semenyo's looking like a great pick right now.
He is. And I saw that quote, but I thought it was in reference to the EFL Cup.
Okay, was it just EFL Cup? I wasn't
I
sure if he was talking just in general. I didn't see the interview. I just saw the
Yeah,
image
the
with
headline
the
I
quote on
saw
it.
was in reference to the EFL. So I would hope that that is the case, but we'll see.
Yeah, that is one thing that's nice about the transfer window closing is now like some of these questions around, will players be moving? Will they be staying? Lineups or rosters they're locked right now. So we're not going to see movement. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That either helps you or hurts you.
On the Spurs side, as a non-Gahey owner, I was kind of pissed that Solanke got both of those goals. I was hoping that the Gahey would go down as the own goal, but
Yeah,
it didn't. But independent of who you support, that Solanke second goal, gotta love watching that.
you
That was
did. You did have to love. And I did have an interesting little stat, and I kind of teased it a little bit. Just really quick, going back to Semenya, and I'm trying to bring it up. So Elliot Anderson, over his last, I think it's 6 games, um, if you look at their point totals, so I'm gonna bring here it is. Here we go. I got it right here. So in the last 6 games for City, and actually this was posted on February 2nd, so this was inclusive of this last game. In the last 6 games, Semenyo has 6 starts, 3 goals and an assist. So he has 29 FPL points. Jim, Elliot Anderson, over his last 6 games, has 6 starts, no goals, 1 assist. Guess how many points he has scored for FPL?
14.
32.
How?
DEFCON and bonus points. He's making the contributions to the game just positionally. His impact is giving him those bonus points. That's crazy. Unless that's a fake stat.
I'm gonna second you on that. That is crazy.
Like if I go look right now, I'm gonna go confirm this because I guess you can't just trust everything. But Elliot Anderson right now priced at 5.3 over his last 6 games, 7 points, 5 points, 5 points, 7 points, 4 points, 4 points. 8 and 10 is 18 and 14, 32.
That's
He
good.
has gotten 2 clean sheets, but he's not a defender, so he doesn't get really a ton of points for that. He's just getting a ton of DEFCON. Here are his DEFCON numbers in his last 6. 17, 14, 15, 22, 13, and 12.
22.
Yeah. That means for bonus points, he got 3 bonus points last game. No. How is he getting all these points? I don't understand it. He's getting 2 points for 90 minutes. He's getting 2 points for DEFCON, so he's getting a minimum of 4. And then he's getting either 3 bonus points or 1 bonus point. That's crazy.
For 5.3, that is pretty crazy. Next 3 fixtures: Leeds, Wolves, Liverpool.
I mean, how could you overlook that?
I mean, it's very easy to overlook it because he's not scoring.
No, but I mean, at this point, like, how could you overlook
Yeah.
like, we did that whole, Chris Richards as a DEFCON, guy back in the day. I think it was an earlier episode, not scoring goals, but he's just consistently DEFCON. He's a high scorer. Elliot Anderson's doing the same thing in the midfield. No one's talking about him.
You're talking about him. Good
I'm
for you.
talking
Good job.
about him. I mean, stock is flagged right now.
You
I
could
might
be
need
his
to make a
weekend
move.
stock. Turkey's
Yeah,
flagged.
yeah. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it. We'll talk about it. But I wanted to give him that credit because
I like that. That's a good shout.
that's a good one. All right. Well, this is a mega app, so I want to make sure we're getting through everything. You have anything else on the fixtures?
No, solid game week.
Solid game week. And
Nothing
wrapping
today.
up,
Game
it's
of the
not
week.
wrapping up. Yeah, rounding out the rest of the team of the week. So 132 point total for game week 24. We mentioned Habib Diarra and Madueke with 14 points each, but rounding out the rest of the team, we had Kelleher over at Brentford with a 10-pointer with his clean sheet. Reynildo and Ballard over at Sunderland. So nice Sunderland presence this week. Go Black Hats. Ringer with 11 points and 9 points respectively. Kanate with an 11-point haul for Liverpool. He had that goal towards the end of the game as well to really seal it up. Midfield, we had Casemiro with 13 points. Mr. Scott over at Bournemouth with a 13-pointer with a goal and a
Michael.
clean sheet. I wasn't sure if I was going to go Michael or Adam, but I like Michael. Florian Wirtz, who
That's
continues to be cold, but this week he was hot with a 12-point haul. And then you mentioned Ekatike with 13-point return with his brace, and then Solanke with 12 points with his brace. So nice to see him getting in the score column. So total 132 points, extremely affordable team.
you saying
Almost
every
too affordable
saying
every week. every week. It's disgusting. If you didn't have every one of these players, it's okay. Try again next week. We'll see. What about our points? Do you want to get into? You want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Do you want Tink to go first? What do you want to do?
I'll go first, real quick. 61 points. Pretty good week. Petrovic goals, so I had 10 there. Keane and James came off the bench, so only 2 and 1 points there. Got the Saliba clean sheet. Verts, 12 points. I wish I kept my captain ban on him from last week. That would have really set me apart, but I moved it. Then I had Rice, Rice with 3, Turkey 8. I'm glad I kept on holding on to him. Palmer, who had 2 points, who I actually ended up bringing in last week. I know that was I was texting you about that quite a bit, but I did end up bringing him in, and then gave him the captain ban, so he blanked and screwed me there. But Holland 5, Bowen 8, Thiago 2. 61 points, not bad. Missed the captain pick, but I don't know. I had that thing where if you bring in a player, it's because you like them.
Right.
It's not to captain them, but I should have just kept it on Burks. But what are you gonna do?
That's okay. That's okay. Good week for you. I also scored 61 points. We are even in that category. 2 points from Sanchez and my keeper. Backline of Timber, Chalaba, Ihi, and Gabriel with 5, 3, 3, and 8 points respectively. I had given Bruno Fernandes my captain ban, so he gave me a 20-point haul. And Bomo blanked with a 2-pointer. Declan Rice with 3 points. Enzo with a late goal to push 8 points across his score this week. And then 5 points from Holland and 2 points from Thiago. I did unfortunately leave 7 points from Krupi on my bench. So that one kind of hurt a little bit, especially because I know I went back and forth with should I start Gahey, should I not start Gahey? So, but that's okay. 61 points. I'll take it off of a wild card week. If I look at what I would have scored, because that's another thing that I do a lot, FPL Gameweek. I don't know if folks use that. I don't have it in front of me here, but it'll tell you what your actual net gain or loss was. I recommend go check it out. But yeah, no, that was pretty much, I don't know, good wild card week. Not great wild card week. I'll take it.
Are you happy about how your team looks this upcoming week? That's really the wild card.
Yes. So I'm just bringing up my net here. So with my wild card, I netted +6 points. So I guess in theory, good wild card. I don't think I could have foreseen to Kuiper playing. That was really the tough one there because he hadn't been playing. And of course, Anthony Gordon scored a goal, which he hadn't done in a long time. But I do like how my team is shaping up this week. We'll get into team selections. I feel good about it. I got a couple of injuries I got to work through, but I'll get through them. I'll figure it out. And then that leaves us with Lord Tinkerton. So unfortunately, Lord Tinkerton
Good week.
outscored both of us. Good
Yeah.
week. Now, if you remember, his transfers were he moved Dallo out for Branthwaite, and he moved Anthony Gordon out for Dango Unchained, who scored. So 68 points. He had Verbruggen in the back for 3. Branthwaite scored a point. Richards scored a point. Gabriel with 8. But he was one of those managers who had Cherky, Verts, and Ekatike. So we had kind of that trifecta of really strong players this week. So we had Rogers with 2 points, Dango with 8, Anton Stock with 2 points, Cherky with 8, Verts with 12. He did captain Holland, which gave him 10 points, which kind of, we dodged a bullet there. Things could have been worse. And then Ekatike with 13 points. So not really much on his bench to speak of. So this is a tough one. We haven't both lost to Tinkerton in quite some time.
I know.
Yeah. But
Good hit on
I said
Dango.
really good hit on Dango. I said it to you when
Although he
we
had
were
Gordon.
doing selections. True. Yeah. I guess that's fair.
Really not.
But he didn't get the clean sheet, so still made out pretty good. But yeah, we'll have to see what he does because he's got a few flags going into this week. We'll get into it. But yeah, overall, nice little run there for Tink. Got to give him his credit there. Just looking at the standings, not a lot of movement. We see Connor Artesian moved up 1 spot, and Akshay Shetty moved down 1 spot, but otherwise the table stayed the same. So a lot of good scores this week. Some folks in the 80s. Yeah, nice job. Yeah, what was the average this week? 55. So we still
55.
did better than the average. 55. Yeah. Speaking of point totals, we'll just give it an update on captain's draft. So Jim had sat at 49 points going into the game week. Chose Mr. Yakoresh himself, who did score a goal. So a 7-point haul for Yakoresh. So Jim is now sitting at 56 points. And I was sitting at 55 to start the game week. I went Morgan Rogers, who blanked with a 2-pointer. So I am sitting at 57 points. So we are very neck and neck. I had a little gap there, but you have closed it. Good for you.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see
Game week's left.
who we pick this week, and it'll be my pick first in game week 25. So hopefully I can heat up a little bit. Hopefully I can get a little hotter. It'd be nice if maybe some of these players could get hot on their own. Kind of like a self warming hot tub, Jim.
Sometimes you need a little help. And this episode is actually brought to you by the self-warming hot tub, the only home appliance designed to turn your studio apartment into a tropical rainforest and your skin into a high-quality leather briefcase. Why go to a spa when you could bring the boiling point of the Dead Sea right into your living room? It's the dream, isn't it? A total temperature control. You're not just sitting in water, you're regulating your internal thermostat. You're looking at that sweet spot. Not 90 degrees, not 100. You want that steady, blistering 105, the kind of heat that makes your heart race like a thoroughbred. It turns your living room into a wall with a gray fog.
Keep going.
Because there's a fine line between relaxation and becoming a human prune. One minute you're enjoying a nice soak, and the next you've been in there for 3 days. Your neighbor Lomez is checking on you, and you look like a jack o' lantern that's been sitting on a porch since November. You're shriveled. You're incapacitated. You've lost all muscle tone. But hey, at least you're back to normal, right? So you're ready to ignore your utility bill and embrace the life of a semi-aquatic shut-in. It's time to take a plunge. Just make sure you have somebody nearby to help you out of a tub, or at least somebody to throw you a life jacket when you fall asleep. Visit thehumanprune.com and use code Tinker for a free gallon of industrial strength moisturizer. That's thehumanprune.com, code Tinker. The self-warming hot tub. Stay in until you're done. Back to the bot.
Did you say the humanprune.com or .com?
It was .com.
So
It's
this, just because I know you always ask, this is very clearly an ad read for a gallon of industrial strength moisturizer.
no, that's a free. It's an ad read for the hot tub, and you get the moisturizer free.
Yeah, you probably want to avoid hot tubs right now for a little bit.
No soaking. Boy. All
Boy.
right, let's talk 25 game week deadline coming up.
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
Friday game this week, so you gotta. Hopefully, you're listening to this early on Friday. Uh, we'll see. So yeah, deadline is Friday at 2:30 GM. No, 18:30 GMT, which is what 2:30 here, 1:30 here. You know what it is. It's a normal Friday start. With this, there is the confirmed Arsenal double game week because Kai Havertz put them ahead in the cup midweek. So they beat Chelsea. They won the right for a double game week. So Arsenal will be facing Brentford and Wolves uh, in double game week 26. Whatever moves you're making this week, keep that in mind. Arsenal Wolves confirmed. Will blank in 31, but have a double game week in 26. So while you're making those moves for Arsenal, as you mentioned earlier, injured. He will be out, probably targeting a game week 27 return. So don't keep him in mind. I know we've been talking the last couple weeks here whether or not you'd want an attacking player or if you just double or triple down on defense. With him out, maybe if you want an offensive player, you could target Gyökeres. But other than that, you're really taking a shot. Maybe
Yeah.
the defense is the way in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for folks who maybe pulled their wild card and they decided, hey, I'm gonna go not the Saka route.
We never really, but we follow. Speaking of injuries, Anthony Gordon. So he, like we said, he's been struggling to score from open goal. He did have a goal this week, but then picked up an injury in Carabao Cup semifinal. So if you have him, it might be the time to move him out. I think it's still unknown. Let me check FotMob here and see what the latest they have. But yeah, those hamstrings are always tough. So FotMob has him coming back late February. So with his price, you're definitely going to want to move him out, find somebody else to replace him because that's just too much funds, in my opinion, to be sitting on. But to each his own. If you have enough room to cover and you not worried about the price drop, go for it. And then we mentioned it earlier. Jurgen Stredlausen made his move from Palace to Wolves. No, from Wolves to Palace. Mamma mia! So they are part of the double game week. That would be. They're not part of double game. Wolves is part of double game week. So I think with that, it's just target anybody who's playing Wolves here, right? They have no offensive threat. They have no defensive threat. They've given up on this season. They're going down. They cashed in, took the money they could get.
Can you hear me okay? I'm having some technical difficulties over here.
And now I can. You're logged in
Yeah.
twice here. So the meeting room.
Yeah, it looks like my computer was about to die. So I quickly ran to grab my charging cord, and it did not like that when I plugged it in. Made me rejoin the session. So we are still recording. I think it'll probably upload the recording in 2 clips. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens.
Let's see.
Yeah. Worst case, we got through the recap. So, but that being said, I do want to I actually could hear you the whole time, which was great. So
Nice.
thank you for that cover. But I'm just trying to play catch up. So where do we leave off?
You want to just talk fixtures this week? Anything that stands out as
Yeah, we can get into fixtures. Yes, I think you hit on all the kind of settling, if you will, of some of the double game week for 26. So you can really start prepping for that. Fixtures this week. We do have a Friday fixture back in play. It's been a little while, but Leeds and Forest are going to kick things off. That's a brutal one, just to kind of start the game week. Just to be very clear. I wish it was going to be better. But anyway, going into
focus on
Saturday.
work? You gain some brownie points with your boss.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So then going into Saturday, so we've got a big slate of fixtures on Saturday. United hosts Spurs at 7:30 a.m. Nice early fixture. Love that. Then we get into the 10 a.m. fixture slate. We've got Bournemouth hosting Villa, Arsenal hosting Sunderland, Burnley hosting West Ham, Fulham hosting Everton, and Wolves hosting Chelsea. So big set of fixtures at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then rounding out the end of the day, Newcastle hosting Brentford at 12:30. I'll tell you the Sunday fixtures because there's only 2. We've got Brighton hosting Palace at 9 a.m. and then Liverpool hosting City in kind of the big weekend showdown at 11:30 Eastern. So I don't know, Jimbo. I mean, looking at this slate of fixtures, does anything jump out at you that, as far as a clean sheet percentage or, as far as attacking percentage, that you would really be looking to target?
Yeah, I think Arsenal hosting Sunderland. Sunderland have kind of been ping ponging back and forth this season. They've these great wins and then expected losses given that they're newly promoted team. I think Arsenal coming off of their big win last week could easily put another few goals in. So I would say Arsenal, goal scorers, which include their defenders, given what we've seen this year. I think that's a good one to target. And then Chelsea, I know it's away at Wolves, but we've said it all year. Wolves stink. They just sold their best player. Chelsea, slow start last week, ugly. So maybe not their defense. I know Reece James is flagged. I have him, so I will have to figure that out. But I think Chelsea attackers, you should feel pretty good about them going into this week.
What attacker? I mean, I feel like it's got to be Enzo.
No, I mean, João Pedro he scored 3 weeks in a row, at least 2. I think it's
I
João
guess.
Pedro, Enzo, and Palmer.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as attacking threat goes, so, team form over the last 6, Chelsea have scored 12 goals in their last 6 games on an expected goal of 13.6. So you could even argue they're actually underperforming as far as conversions go. But yeah, that Chelsea attack, I think, is definitely one to target this week. I love that pick on your end.
Yeah.
And as far as clean sheet goes, I mean, it's got to be Arsenal, even though that, Sunderland fixture earlier in the season did not play out that way, but Arsenal's defense coming off a 4-0 clean sheet, you got to like the odds.
Yeah. I mean, apart from those, and I guess maybe a third one I'd throw in is West Ham just Bowen versus Burnley. You probably like
Mm.
that. But apart from that, a lot of evenly matched teams. I mean, Spurs United, pretty close. Newcastle
Is it
Brentford,
though?
pretty close. Brighton Palace, pretty close. Liverpool City, pretty close. Like, I don't see anybody really going off in any of those other fixtures. As far as captain's picks, I'd probably stick to, Chelsea, West Ham, and Arsenal. Yeah.
I think that's a smart plan. I actually am a little surprised that, well, I shouldn't say I'm surprised. Burnley's attack has been essentially just non-existent. 6 goals in their last 6 with an expected goal of 3.55. You would think that West Ham's defense could rise to that occasion, but West Ham have just been letting in so many goals. 12 goals in their last 6 on an expected of 11.6.
Yeah, I don't even know who you'd bring in though. Like who'd you actually bring in that you would feel confident for 3 weeks
Yeah.
to keep? It's
Yeah,
just not worth
that's
it.
fair. That's fair. We have been kind of hitting on it. Wolves defense, it's not good, but it's been okay. They're not getting cream pied by teams. They're losing, letting in a goal or two every game week. 6 goals in their last six allowed. So just keep that in mind. I know there's a few cheaper options. If you're really looking for a differential, maybe Wolves defense is something you would consider, but I don't know.
You'd have to be desperate if you're doing that.
You would have to be desperate, but desperate times, different desperate men. Do you think this is the week Holland regains his form?
I can see it. And Liverpool defense have not been good.
I don't see Liverpool holding a clean sheet this week.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like Gabriel and Holland always have their kind of game within the game whenever they play each other. Maybe Holland figures out a way to put one past. I don't know. We'll have to see. But overall, I mean, captaincy wise, Jimbo, what are you thinking this week? Not captain's draft, but give me your three best captain picks for the week.
I mean, I still like Palmer. I brought him in last week. I know he blanked. I still think he's a strong pick. I said Bowen versus Burnley. They stink. He just keeps making magic out of nothing all by himself.
Mm.
And then I could see an Arsenal defender.
Interesting. I'm kind of shocked that you are not highlighting Bruno Fernandez. And here's why. Since Michael Carrick has taken over as caretaker, Bruno's averaging 8.3 points per game. And they've played City, they've played Arsenal in those games. It almost feels like if United are going to have success against Spurs, which there's no debate, United are in better form than Spurs. It almost feels like Bruno has to be involved in the United goals. Like it feels inevitable. He got 2 assists last week, 20-point haul if you backed him. So I wouldn't rule out Bruno this week. I think he might be another one to just keep an eye on because I feel like he has to be involved in their attack.
That's true. I can see that. I can see that. I was thinking coming at it was more of a Spurs are going to play him tough. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. So yeah, the chances are he'll get some points, but it's gonna be a tough game for them. It's not gonna be easy. So that's where I was coming from. But you're right. Spurs' clean sheet record is trash. He's been in great form. I did see a report that Carrick had been sending scouts to Spurs
I saw
games.
that too. I saw that too.
I don't know if that's real, but if it is, he might be overthinking this because we are not good.
We're not good. The only thing that I think for me, like when I saw that was, well, because Spurs are playing with such a depleted squad that like maybe they don't know how to prepare for it. The flip side of that is Spurs have looked so good in Champions League. Outside of their one game against PSG where they let in, was it 5 goals? I think it was in
I
that game
think
they lost. Like it's been such a Jekyll and Hyde season for Spurs. Between the Prem and European competitions, maybe Carrick is a little nervous, and it's rightfully so. I don't know, but I think for me this week, I'm looking at Bruno right now, and I'm probably looking at an Arsenal defender, probably Gabriel as my vice, but like I don't anticipate having to have the vice captain come into play.
I think that's a
Um,
good pick. Yeah.
what about captain's draft? So you're sitting at 56 points, 57. Um, it's my first pick this week, but did you want to offer any? Did you want to
No,
opine at
no,
all
you
or
go.
no?
No, you go.
No, no, no. Okay. Um, I am going to play it safe. I am going to go Bruno Fernandez.
Interesting. Leave an open for me. I will go Palmer then.
Ice cold. Okay. Interested to see if he gets into form. World Cup coming up.
He's due.
Hmm. He's doing something all right. All right. So as far as differentials go, we're gonna do it a little differently this week. So I've got a whole list of just differentials here, panel of differentials here. We'll go through. I'll give you the list by position. You can give me just kind of who you like the most out of that list. Okay. So we'll start with midfielders. We've got Verts at Szoboszlai at 6.2% ownership. We've got Casemiro at 1.6% ownership. You've got Mr. Garner over at Everton at 4.5% ownership, and Pedro Neto at Chelsea at 5.9% ownership. Who do you like in that list?
I mean, Soberslai is probably getting the most consistent minutes out of that group. but he's been cold.
Definitely.
He's been cold.
He played right back the other day.
Yeah. I'd probably still go Soposai, but I don't love that pick. I don't love that group of players.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a second one, probably James Gardner, although I don't
Yeah.
even know if they have coming up.
I'm interested that you're so against Neto, just purely on the fixture.
But he's not getting consistent starts.
He hasn't, but to be fair, was the lineup that Liam Rostenier deployed against West Ham
Yeah.
the fact that they were playing West Ham?
Well, whatever he was thinking is obviously he's going to be rethinking it after
I'll
having
be
played
honest.
it.
I watched that game. I don't know how Garnacho can get any more time. I know Neto plays on the right primarily, but like put
Yeah.
Neto out on the left. Garnacho looked brutal.
Yeah. I
I
like
guess
Neto. I just he's not starting enough for me to back him there.
if I threw Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs White into that conversation, did those names make anything change for you?
I mean, based on what you said earlier, probably Anderson, just to save some funds, move it around elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you would think against Leeds, not a massive attacking threat. Definitely will get his DEFCON, I would think. Could be another solid 5, maybe a 6-pointer for him. At 5.3, only owned by 5.1%. It's pretty good.
Right. Right. Let's keep going.
All right, moving on to defenders. So we've got, let's see here. So we've got Mukiele, owned technically a little bit higher at 13.6%. So we're kind of going against our rules here a little bit. And we've got Tarkowski, who's owned by 14.1%. So we're a little bit higher than our normal 10% threshold this week. Looking at them, is there one that you would jump for this week?
Remind me, Everton have Fulham. I would go
Everton
check
at
out
Fulham.
for sure.
Would you make the move to bring him in if you didn't have him, knowing that Gameweek 26 is that double for Arsenal defenders? Because Tarkowski's priced at 5.8. He's not really that cheap.
They have Fulham, then Burnley, then United, and Newcastle. Sorry, Fulham, then Bournemouth, then United, Newcastle, then Burnley. So I'd probably go Tarkowski. I mean, over those 5 fixtures, you'd probably assume they get 3 clean sheets. Plus, he's
Yeah,
a depth run maniac. So I'd probably go Tarkowski over that. Just given his track record and how Sunderland are kind of unpredictable, I think he's the move.
yeah, that's fair. What about forwards? So I've got a couple names here. So Evan Nilsson, Raul Jimenez, and Benji Sheshko. Yeah, I think he's got 4 goals in his last 4 appearances, so he's actually been in pretty decent form. Rank those 3 for me.
Probably go Shesko first. They listen, they have Spurs, then West Ham, Everton, then Crystal Palace. That's a solid run. Bruno is in incredible form. He's going to be dishing it out. I think there's a really good time for Chesko to break out.
Mm,
Uh, between Evan Nilsson and Jimenez for second, I don't know. They're kind of even there.
yeah, yeah.
Probably,
Fixture wise, I feel like
yeah,
Bournemouth's fixtures are a little bit more attractive than Fulham,
yeah. They have Villa, Everton, West Ham, Sunderland.
and then they go Brentford, Burnley through week 30.
Yeah,
I know Fulham play West Ham in 29 and they play Burnley in 31. I just don't have Fulham's fixtures up in front of me right now. But
Everton, then City, then Sunderland, Spurs, then West Ham and Forest, then Burnley. So yeah, I think Evan Nilsson's probably the move there ahead of Jimenez. He's also probably a better striker at this point. So skill wise, Krupi Jr. has been looking pretty good. So maybe they can figure something out together. Although
maybe they can
Oscar
talk
Bob,
it out.
I don't know. You never know.
That's true, Bobby. Um, Okay, good picks. I like that. I know we did a little bit differently this week, but maybe next week we'll get back to our normal kind of differential run. Just looking at real quick some price movement. So we got Chalaba, who's going to be rising very shortly after this episode is posted. Enzo and Semenyo and Verts and Crescencio Somerville over at West Ham are all on track to move up before the deadline. Everyone else, I think you're comfortable with kind of where they're priced at. As far as droppers go, Nico O'Reilly's on pace. He's going to be dropping tonight. I think that's pretty much it. Everyone else should pretty much stay where they are before the deadline. Few big names there, mostly Chelsea assets, which doesn't surprise me. People loading up for the run here. All right, so we got a few minutes left. Why don't we go through our teams? I know you said you haven't spent a ton of time tinkering, but I'm happy to kind of talk through mine because I think mine will be pretty quick this week.
Yeah, I mean I'll be quick. So I have James, Shirky, and Stock. all flagged. James is kind of in pain since I brought him in, so I might just bite the bullet and move him out for Chalaba.
Shabalala.
I could just afford that. No, they're the same price, so I could afford that and be okay. Kind of, it sucks to do a team for team transfer, but James has not been getting consistent starts, and that's really been hurting me. So I think I might have to do that. Keep Turkey in stock, probably bench him and see him through this little questionable spell, but keep Chaloba in the long run. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Nothing crazy planned. I used 2 transfers last week. So how about
Got to
you?
reel it in this week. Yeah, so I mean, I'm coming off my wild card. I have 2 transfers in the bank that I could use, but only 0.2 mil. I think I'm going to try to do my best just to stick to my plan and bank my transfer this week. So my team on paper will look like this unless, we get an injury report or something. So we got Sanchez starting in goal. We've got a back line of Timber, Chalaba, and Gabriel, which I'm very happy with. Midfield of Bruno Fernandes, Bomo, Declan Rice, and Enzo, and then a front 3 this week. So I'm going 3-4-3 with Krupi Jr., who's been in great form, Holland, and Thiago. So my first bench spot is Gahey at the moment. I don't love putting him on the bench, but I think my decision point is: do I start Krupi or do I start Gahey?
You gotta go
Can't
Krupi.
imagine.
Go
Yeah, I
Krupi.
feel like it's got to be Krupi. If there was a transfer that I would consider making this week, it would maybe be moving off of Mbomo, but I don't know who I would bring in. I don't like Semenyo's fixture against Liverpool, so that's kind of, I feel like I'm better off banking my transfers right now. I'm covered on the
Yeah,
double game week for 26. That's what's important.
there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. And as far as Lord Tinkerton goes, he did not choose to make any transfers this week, which is ridiculous because he has 2 players that are flagged, but hey, that's not my job. So it looks like he's going to be rolling out the same lineup for Bruggen, Branthwaite, Richards, Gabriel, Morgan Rogers, Dango, Anton Stock. He's gotten there right now, even though he's flagged at a 25% clip of playing. Ryan Cherky, Florian Wirtz, he's got Holland, Ekatike up top, with Holland getting the captain ban. So fortunately for him, he does have some bench options. Calvert-Lewin could always slot right in for Stock, and that would be fine. And if Cherky's not able to go, looks like Joe Roden would be able to go right in there as well. So he's covered.
Joey.
So I could understand. And honestly, against Forest, it's not an awful fixture to start a Leeds defender if you had to, and a Leeds attacker.
It's first.
What else, Jimbo? Did we get
Who-
to the end here?
Why am I not seeing Leeds? Who are Leeds playing?
Leeds are playing Forest. They have the Friday fixture.
Friday. That's right. That's right.
Friday,
Yeah.
Friday. Got to get down on Friday.
Partying. Yeah, I think Leeds.
Fun.
Looking forward to the weekend.
Yesterday
Yeah,
was
I think
Thursday. We're gonna get copyrighted for that.
what a
Boy,
song.
man, she was a DJ nowadays.
Fun.
This was a mega ep. We had some mega conversations, mega ad reads, mega technical difficulties. So we'll hope that this all gets pieced together in one cohesive thought. But if you've made it this far with us, thank you, as always. Shout outs again to our mini league participants. Had a lot of fun watching that table move or not move, but you guys are the real MVPs. As always, go subscribe, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our YouTube channel. Drop us a comment. What do you think for, Saka replacement for game week 26? Who are you captaining this week? What do you think of, Jim's butt hair rectum procedure? Would you fly all the way to Turkey? Let us know how much you would be willing to pay. And as always, still not too late. The code to our mini league will be in the description as always. Thanks again for joining us on this episode of Tinker Time. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop your captain pick in the comments, and we will talk to you on the other side of game week 25. Happy tinkering.
Draft dreams rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait, captain choice will seal your fate.